Yo guys, welcome to the video. This is Milky, and what a day to be an Invoker monk that likes getting power charges. We got some buffs today to both the builds that I've been playing in the Path of Exile 2 early access so far. And all you guys, all I've heard for the past week of my life was, why are you not using Combat Frenzy? And GGG shared my opinion. It sucked. It was okay at some things, but for what I was doing, it wasn't quite there. But it did get buffed today. And let's quickly go over exactly how it got buffed and what buffs affect us the most. So, huge balance pass. I'm not going to go over everything. That's not this kind of video. I'm not that kind of guy. But I will go over the things that are important for us. So let's start by control Fing. We'll start here. Gathering Storm is a monk ability. It gained 53% more damage. Whether or not this makes it good, almost definitely not. The skill's kind of funky, but I have been trying it out. It's pretty fun, but not the best. Wave of Frost got more frost build-up. It's just too easy to apply for freeze anyway, rather than having a skill that it kind of like exclusively does it. We'll try it out. Can't say for sure whether or not it'll be good. Staggering Palm, its duration got increased to 10 seconds at rank 20. You can also have persistence on this. This actually did a decent amount of damage before, and it went up by 20%. It's just kind of annoying to use more than anything, having to get a mob low on stagger, and then stagger it, and then you get the projectiles. Maybe we can figure out a way to use this. Again, I'll try all these things out because I just love the quarterstaff skills and the monk in general. So I'll definitely try these out. Whether or not they're good, we do not know. Another one, let's come up, and the big one will be Combat Frenzy. Now can gain a frenzy charge no more than every 3 seconds from 7 seconds at level 1, scaling down to 1.5 seconds at level 20. This is a massive buff, as you now can gain, with a setup I'm going to show you later in the video, charges very, very quickly, almost to the point where I don't have to click any other button but my Falling Thunder, and I'll show you that in action. What else happened for us? Well, we got some Electrocute changes. There's a new electric cluster. I don't think we'll be taking it, but it's pretty interesting for any Electrocute builds. Also, they nerfed the gloves. They're kind of now making it... the way I read this is they've removed the damage penalty, which means you're going to electrocute more with the skill that you're actually using the Electrocute gem on. So they've nerfed kind of global Electrocute applications, which would be the gloves, but your actual gem that you're using Electrocute on got better at applying it. And I have noticed it a lot. And this is important because Combat Frenzy itself, if we come into the game, you'll see it requires us to electrocute or freeze or pin a mob, as I say, every 1.7 seconds. Doing this will award us a frenzy charge. You might be thinking, well, my skills require power charges to use, and it's a good point, but there is a Resonance Keystone on the passive tree that allows us to transform our frenzy charges into power charges. So if you were someone that didn't know this existed, and this is going to give us all the power charges we need. Now, you can also put a support gem on this, Profusion. We were, of course, using this on our cast on free setup with Profane Ritual previously, and this is going to give us 50% chance to grant an additional charge. So we're getting 1.5 charges every 1.7 seconds on average. The quality on this doesn't show here, but it's another 20% chance for additional charge, giving us a 70% chance to gain an additional charge. And then I've actually started using this Serpent's Egg since the change. We grant another charge, so we can get up to 3 charges every 1.7 seconds, which is a very nice amount, especially on Flicker Strike. I'd say Flicker is the biggest recipient of this buff, and it got the biggest changes, and it feels much smoother to play. I'm going to show you both versions of these, the builds that I've been running in this video, being Falling Thunder and Flicker. There'll be more comprehensive build guides in the future going over both setups once I've tweaked them and got them in a position where I'm willing to put in like an hour-long video where I go over all the intricacies of the builds, but right now it's just going to be these more talking head kind of videos. So I hope you're okay with that. They are a bit more rambly. We will get build guides eventually, and you can always go to the right up on max roll as I make those. So was there anything else? I've almost definitely forgot something, and I've just remembered what it is. Ricochet. So, where is it? Ricochet. Ricochet support now has a 40% chance to chain from terrain, up from 20. This is huge for Falling Thunder, as there are a lot of indoor maps in this game, and a lot of maps that just have random debris everywhere. So being able to bounce our Falling Thunder off it, especially in this game where projectiles inherently shotgun, makes this skill much, much stronger, because we're just going to be firing. The projectiles are going to be bouncing off the walls, hitting the mobs multiple times. It's amazing. And we have now, if I look at mine, combined with Jewels, the support, and some nodes on the tree, we have 66% chance to collide with terrain. And I'm actually missing 2 Jewels with the terrain collide. So we could get another 14% and get all the way up to 80%. There's a lot we can do with Jewels, and it's a part of my build that I haven't really invested much into just yet. That I don't have any time lost Jewels, don't have any unique Jewels. I'll be looking at that in the future. So the build itself, how exactly does it work? Well, let me grab a little map to show you. Let's see if I can get a good layout just to show you the the madness of Falling Thunder. Now we're going to this one. So initially we've added Electrocute onto our Tempest Flurry setup. This allows us obviously to proc our Combat Frenzy to gain a Frenzy charge. And then we have just Falling Thunder, which is going to just blow up screens of enemies. And you'll see I gained 3 already. That's because of the egg, and the additional 6 already. Boom. My charge staff is fully stacked. Now we can just start blasting mobs. 3 again. 7. Where's 7? Now we just start blasting. I got 3 back immediately from firing Falling Thunder. 7 back immediately from firing Falling Thunder. 3 back. I don't have to press any other button. That time I only got 2. But you'll notice, even if I immediately fire it, because the skill travels for so long, it's been 1.7 seconds since I cast the skill. And I get them back almost immediately. So 3. Boom. Press it again. Boom. 6. I don't have to press anything else. You see how insane it is. So Falling Thunder is a huge benefactor of these changes, and of course the additional chance for it to collide makes it a monster at indoor maps as well as outside. Now, is it the best Monk build? No. But is it the most fun button to press on Monk? I'd argue yes. I love pressing this button. But you could be someone that likes pressing Flicker, and that's why we're going to go over that showcase as well. So it does work largely the same in the way that we're going to be building. The only difference being here, we can't put we don't want to put Cold Infusion, on our Tempest Flurry, because we want it on our Flicker so it can freeze more, and then it's going to... basically, it has no inherent damage scaling for Elemental, right? We could also use Lightning Infusion, but I feel like this setup just works out a bit better with being able to proliferate the freezes. Hopefully we get a nice, like, high-density map here so I can actually show off. The thing about Flicker is it kind of stinks in low-density maps because you kill the mobs and there's nothing for it to chain to. But if we get something like a Breach, then obviously it just goes wild. But we always... Look at my power charges. Like, we're never worrying about power charges. We hit 1 mob, boom, 3 power charges because of the 70% chance and, of course, the amulet. There it is. We just keep going all day. We never worry about it. Now, Ice Bite is on Charge Staff. That means when Charge Staff kills something, we're going to get a ton of damage as extra cold, which is going to make it easier for us to freeze, even with something like our Charge Staff. So we're going to find it easier to generate our power charges, which is a very nice touch. Make sure you put Ice Bite on your Charge Staff. If you are struggling to electrocute or freeze, you can always place down the bell, because you can apply those things to the bell, which is going to give you a quick source of power charges. We'll add a button to your rotation, but it'll solve a couple of problems if you're having any with that. Yeah, you can see exactly how Flicker works. It's a shame I don't have a Breach or anything to show you, but I wanted to get this up post-patch, so I'm not going to do a million maps to get some cool Flicker gameplay. I'll save that for the build guide montage. Now, I will say, obviously on the last setup, I did recommend getting cold damage on the weapon. I still definitely recommend doing that because freeze is extremely important. Being able to freeze the mobs is obviously going to give you those power charges because of Combat Frenzy, and it's also just nice to shatter mobs with Herald of Ice. It's just one of the most overpowered mechanics in the game, Herald of Ice and freeze. So cold damage plus a high physical damage weapon is a must. At least in the end game, you can survive without the cold damage and instead get cold damage on your rings and gloves to start with, but eventually you are going to want a big fizz and cold damage weapon. We'll go over the skills for the Falling Thunder. There's kind of the showcase. That is how it works in all maps. You'll have to take my word for it. I've tried it in multiple at this point. Not 100% on this yet. So for the video purposes, I'll show you what I'm doing right now and what you just saw, but always check the planner because I can't travel through time and tell me right now to tell you that I've changed the gem. So the planner is always going to be more up to date because I can keep updating that, you know what I mean? So here we go. We got Tempest Flurry, socketed with Rage, Neural Overload, Electrocute, and Cold Infusion. This is going to give us more chance to freeze. You could drop this if the Electrocute proves to be enough, but having that extra chance to freeze is also nice. You can also put Cold Infusion on your Charge Staff so that this can freeze. What this means is that when you do have your Charge Staff up, sometimes you can get into an uncomfortable situation where your Tempest Flurry is no longer hitting the mobs because your Charge Staff does one hit and everything. So Cold Infusion, I could end up putting here. That is, I'm going to have to investigate. Tempest Spell, we've got Immolate, Overabundance, Heavy Swing, Concentrate Effect. The reason we have Immolate is if you have a source of flat fire damage on any of your gear, you're going to have a chance to ignite. So when we ignite the bell, it's going to get that additional 30% as extra fire damage, and it's also going to get the additional effects from its inherent effect on the shotgun, right? Deal 30% more damage per elemental ailment affecting the bell. We now have Ignite, Chill, Freeze, Shock, and Electrocute, so our bell does an insane amount of damage, which makes single target and bossing extremely easy on this build. Charge Staff, we have Persistence, Innovate, Ice Bite, Rising Tempest, and Primal Armament, which tries you could definitely put Martial Tempo in here. Mana may become a bit of a problem on this setup. Kind of tinker with that, I guess. As I said, this is check the planners for this kind of stuff. Combat Frenzy, Profusion is the only thing we've got on there right now. Falling Thunder has Ambush, Ricochet, Longshot, Rage Forged, and Perpetual Charge. A note on Rage Forged is that you're going to want a duel with Rage on hit. Also, if it gets to the point where we're only spamming Falling Thunder, we're not going to be able to use this, right? Because we're just not going to generate the rage. So again, another one that I'll have to look into. Keep an eye on the planet, but you can also, I'm assuming most of you are working on 5 links right now, so which makes it very easy because you could just drop down. And when I do make the planet, it'll be left to right in order of importance and what you can cut. Cast on Freeze. Obviously, we can now fit in something else onto our Cast on Freeze. I'm using Voltaic Mark with Inspiration because these absolutely chug your mana. This thing costs so much mana. But it does add a lot of clear and obviously chance to shock. Wind Dancer linked with Pin, Lockdown, and Wind Wave, and Herald of Thunder linked with Blind, Lightning Mastery, and Lightning Infusion. And the beauty of this setup is I don't need to change anything but my actual links for Flicker to swap over to Flicker. So you'll want to put the supports in, obviously. We're going to grab Martial Tempo wherever it is. There it is. And what was the last one? Let me try and remember. I think we put Cold Infusion on Flicker here. There are definitely changes to make with this setup, but I just wanted to showcase how strong Combat Frenzy now is, especially when combined with Profusion, Quality, and Serpent's Egg. And you're going to find it easier to cap your resistances now because we've got that extra 20. It's looking good if you're a power charge stacking Invoker Monk. And there will be builders in the description, always more updated than this video, as I have had more time to collect my thoughts, and maybe things have advanced a little bit. So don't message me with that. Also, now, obviously, it's easier for us to generate power charges against bosses. No more questions, how do I generate power charges against bosses? Because you simply place down the bell, and if you apply Freeze or Electrocute to the bell, you're going to gain your power charges. So you're going to be absolutely fine with that. Now, that was a Flicker map with, like, jewels for Falling Thunder and projectile nodes allocated. So you can see this is going to be an absolute banger as we get going. There you go. There's the patch. It's looking good for us. I'm going to min-max the hell out of this and get some juicy build guides up for you as soon as possible. There is also a leveling guide coming to max roll, and I will probably make a YouTube video on it, but this does even change things for leveling, so I might need to revisit some of that. So it may be a little longer than I'd previously thought for that stuff. Thanks for your time, and thank you for just, I mean, my videos have been getting a lot of views. I don't know why. I'm just a little chill guy talking about PoE stuff, but I appreciate you all watching, and if you got this far in the video, I assume you don't mind listening to me waffle that much. So you specifically, thank you very much. I'll see you next time.